Hello guys, I'm Coach RAMBABU from 𝐆𝐢𝐯 Global Foundation. Today we have gathered here to discuss a beautiful and very interesting topic, feedback. So this is episode number 14. Today we have Coach 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 Tando from Alberta, Canada. I feel very happy to meet him in this podcast first time to share his experience on that particular topic. And before that, I would like to mention a request here. If you really feel these podcasts are useful to scale up yourself in your language journey, please subscribe, like, share, and comment in the chat section. Sir, very happy to meet you today in episode number 14. If you permit, I would like to ask a formal question to you. Shall I?
Yes, and I'm
Thank
excited.
you so much. And please introduce yourself to all our viewers.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 Tando, founder of the Confidently Speaking Institute. I'm also a global speaker. I'm an author. I authored one best-selling book in 2020. It's an Amazon best-selling. It's about presentation and public speaking. I'm a coordinator and facilitator of youth leadership programs. So I work with youth. So I teach them public speaking, communication, and presentation, and how to become more confident. I'm also involved with different platforms, and one of them is 𝐆𝐢𝐯, but I will talk more about that later on. I always believe that the best leader should be a good communicator with a good and evaluation skill. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Beautiful introduction. The following question is, and you have been traveling for a few months along with SGF. We love to listen a few words from your end about 𝐆𝐢𝐯 platform. Could you please?
Yes. I've been with the global English platform before, but now we are now known globally as Global Foundation.
Yes.
And yes, I believe we are more than in 33 countries. I believe we have members from Mexico, we have members from United States, Canada, and I like the connections with other people around the world. And I made it sure I'm always in the meeting, advanced meeting every Sunday. I enjoyed my stay in advanced meeting every Sunday because of the very good topic every week. And of course, I really love to be part of this platform. I love the people. I love the coaches that I work with. I love the people whom I connect. So we connect after the meeting. I love the energy. So one of my platform, I'm very much active is because of the 𝐆𝐢𝐯, and I'm very much connected to the people around. So I love that. Particularly Coach RAMBABU, the founder. I'm very much connected with him.
Thank you so much, sir. Really, we feel so glad to listen these kind and concerned word about 𝐆𝐢𝐯 platform. Yes. Now we are going to discuss here the art of giving feedback, and we all know the importance of feedback and how to give and how to receive feedback from the opponent. There is a statement in English: feedback is the key to improvement. And feedback is required to all the coaches, all the leaders, all the mentors, interviews in corporate sector. Feedback plays a vital role in a leader's skill set. And also, giving constructive feedback is a tool to create a good atmosphere, a good environment among the people. So itself, it has two different sounds: feedback. If you feed properly, it will become as robust. If you don't feed, it will become weak or it come back. So, and feedback is very important in any conversations. So according to the feedback only, we can take the next step to go. Here, we are going to learn many things by asking various questions to our well experienced and eminent coach, 𝐻𝐸𝐸𝐶 from Canada. So as I mentioned, request before, please follow Share Every Global Foundation to get more knowledge like this. If you permit, I would like to ask first question, then we may jump into our main interview, sir. Shall I?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. My first question is, in your words, what is feedback?
Thank you for that question. Feedback is anything that like views, suggestions, critics. That's the other term for feedback, or simply the evaluation. But if we will going to define feedback, feedback is any information about reactions to a product, a person's performance of a task, which is used as a basis for improvement. I would like to remind everyone the key words here. Use as a basis for improvement. But because that is our main purpose, we are giving feedback to make someone develop, learn, grow, and improve more in their performance. Just like in speaking, we give feedback on the speaking because we want that speaker to improve and grow more, and eventually he will improve his speech and performance. So that is the basis for me. It is used for someone's improvement. I would like that to mention to everyone, remind that the feedback, and you said it right, feedback. It's a two words. That's beautiful, actually. I love that. When you feed it right, the result is better. When you feed it wrong, it will come back to you. This is the reason why I'm doing this worldwide. So yes, what is feedback? Any information about reaction to a product or a person's performance of a task. Back to you, sir.
Yes, very interesting reply to my first question. So without feedback, we can't move forward. So if we take an effective feedback, and feedback is a kind of result to our presentation. Thank you so much for your very good answer. My next question is, are there any stages should follow while giving feedback according to you? Are there any stages or levels?
Yes. There are different stages and levels depending on the organization. So let's take example, a workplace organization. In my long years in fast food industry, we have a certain level wherein we give feedback to our staff. It depends. Again, it depends on different workplace organization. In the organization that I worked before, we have every 6 months. The first one is, we call it performance review, and we give feedback to our employees. What they did well, what they need to improve, and how can they do well for the next 6 months. Because we give feedback and evaluations twice a year. The first one every 6 months is performance review, and the next one is the wage review. Meaning, if they did well in the wage review, they have a higher increase in their salary. So it depends on the stages on every platform, every organization. So there are different levels and stages. Yeah. So again,
thank
it
you, sir.
depends.
As you mentioned to my second question, according to feedback only we can see our improvement, where and how is our presentation or our deed or work. And getting a good feedback to check ourselves. The feedback really helpful in that case. So thank you so
Yes.
much. My following question is, what are the key skills or tools we should follow while giving feedback? Are there any tools to follow while giving feedback? So this is first, and this is second, and this is, see, for example, if I want to write a letter, informal letter to my friend, and there may be the important part is the body or message. It contains three different paras. One is introductory para and main para and closing para. So like that, there is a kind of recipe. So what is first and what is second? So do we follow any tools while giving feedback?
Yes, yes. There should be a tool formulated by a certain organization. So this, again, different organizations should have a different tools. But what is important tools here that we should always follow is we need to emphasize their strength. We need to emphasize their contribution. And we need to magnify that strength so that they will continue to do that. That is one tool that we will put in our evaluation tools. Always mention and magnify their strength. Later on, next in your tool is always indicate where they do need to improve on. That's the important thing. Magnify their strength so that they will continue to do it. And they will continue to do it, and they will be emulated by others. Magnify the things that they need to improve so that they can work on that one and they become more better employee. So two things very important that we need to put. It's a basic but very important. Show their strength, mention the things that they need to improve. I don't want to call it weakness, but if other leaders of organization will call it weakness, that's okay. But always important to what they did well and what they need to improve. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot more of things that you can consider. So again, it depends on someone who will going to formulate the evaluation for a certain organization.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you. As you mentioned, we need to follow two tools. We should emphasize the strength and their contribution and their magnifying style of presentation. The first tool. And the second tool, we should insist or we should identify where they need to get improvement. We should point out, we should notice and convey. So here you are lack. So you should improve in this particular spot or in this particular area. So this is second tool as you mentioned. So thank you so much for your great answer. Yes. My next very interesting question is, if we see this feedback to identify or to notify that particular presenter is an effective one or not, can we decide by giving the feedback?
Oh, what's a very interesting question actually. And that makes me think, yeah, the most important part here in giving feedback is how you say it. It's not what you say.
No.
The moment that you follow the how you say it and depends on your wordings, depends on your tone of voice, your actions, your gestures, you will always come up with a better feedback regarding a particular speaker. And if that feedback is constructive or negative, you can always come up with a better feedback because of how you say it instead of what you say. So we should be very mindful of our words too, right? Because giving feedback is a skill that we need to learn. It's not easy. When you give a feedback, you have a better listening skill. When you give feedback, you should give your 100% focus. When you give feedback, let's say listening to speech, you will clear your mind, clearing your mind and attention to the details is very important when you give feedback. So it's not an easy skill. You will learn to give feedback through the years, through your experience. Yes, when you are new in giving feedback, let's say in a workplace, you may encounter some mistakes or error on how you give feedback, but through the years, you can learn it. So based on your question, is the speaker effective based on your feedback? May or may not. As long as you are honest in giving feedback, it doesn't indicate that the speaker is not effective. You are actually helping him to become more effective. That's the purpose of your giving feedback. So when we give a negative feedback or constructive feedback, it doesn't say that the speaker is not really effective. We are actually helping him to become more effective. That's my answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as you mentioned here, giving feedback is a kind of art or skill. It decides the leader's strength. One more, the similar interesting question. If somebody else asks me to give feedback, I always praise the presenter, the messenger. Does the feedback always should be positive towards the presenter?
Wow. For me, my perception and answer to that question is, if we always give positive feedback, we are not actually helping someone to improve, because it's always positive, right? What is the point of giving feedback if you will just only magnify the strength, but you are not mentioning the weaknesses? Again, if we will go back to the definition that I give in your first question, I would remind again everyone, feedback is the basis for improvement. Now, to that question, if you always give a positive feedback, I don't think the one receiving your positive feedback always will going to improve, because he will think, oh, it's all positive feedback. I'm perfect. I'm the best. So there's no improvement there. So that's my answer question to you. It's not always positive. We should also have constructive feedback. That's my answer. Beautiful question.
Yes. See, giving all the time positive feedback or to praise the person or the presenter, it is better to give a constructive, a valid feedback which helps to the presenter. Yes, am I right? Yes, thank you so much.
Exactly right.
Here, and I want to ask one more question. While giving feedback, what kind of things I should avoid, not to consider, not to take in while giving feedback? Are there any avoidable things in giving feedback?
Yes, thank you that you mentioned that question actually for everyone, not only for me. There are things that we should avoid in giving feedback. Number one is we should give feedback on how we impacted by that certain person. But what I meant to say here is what you feel about that performance to that person. That's saying is speaking. What do you feel when you listen to a particular speaker? That is one thing to consider, and we should avoid this one. Giving feedback is not actually making a lecture or presentation. You are not there to give a lecture.
Yes.
You are not the speaker actually when you are the evaluator. Because what the other person waiting for you is something that you will give value in learning. So avoid being lecturer, avoid being the speaker, because you are there to give value and improvement to that particular speaker. That is one thing that we need to avoid. We should not make ourselves a better person is speaking too many lectures so that you will show to the world that you are the best. No, that's not the real intention of evaluator.
Yeah.
So avoid making yourself like you want to be the best, because your main purpose is to give the best
Yeah.
and not to be the best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great answer. Great answer. Definitely, these kind of very practical and experienced responses will help the viewers a lot while they're giving feedback, I'm sure.
Yes, actually, that's
Yes.
right. That's
Yes.
right.
If you permit, I would like to ask a final question in this episode 14 in Rendezvous with Rambab. So, my
Yes.
final
Yes.
question is, we all know, I think even in the Toastmaster clubs, this word is very famous, very popular. That word is explain the importance of sandwich method in giving feedback. What is that?
So we call it sandwich method. It's because if you will going to look at a sandwich, there are three parts or three layers of the sandwich. The first layer is what we call the crown. The second layer, of course, is what is in the middle. Probably the patty, everything in there. The ketchup, the sauce, the pickles, the onions. And the last part is the heel or the bottom part. So feedback sandwich is the top layer or the crown, the one in the middle, everything that comes in the middle of the sandwich, and the bottom part, which is the heel. Now, the feedback sandwich represents three things. The top portion represents your positive feedback. The middle portion or layer represents the actual feedback that you really wanted to give. And that is where the improvement, constructive feedback, the value, the learnings that you want to tell someone.
Yeah.
Of course, the last part is the bottom part, and that represents the overall positive feedback. Why do we need to use this kind of format? Because in psychology, people always want to hear praise. People always want to hear compliments. That's the reason why we have the bottom part representing good feedback. Remember my statement before, you need to magnify their strength. That is positive feedback. And then later on, we need to mention the things that they need to improve on. That's the middle part of the sandwich. After you give the feedback that you really wanted to tell to a particular person, then you transition to another positive feedback so that it will cover up the real feedback that you give. So the real feedback actually here in the sandwich method is the middle part. And that is in psychology. Psychology wants tell us that people always wanted to hear positive comments. And in a way, we will avoid hurting the feelings of one person. Again, giving feedback is a skill that we need to learn. It's not that easy. You need to learn the techniques and you need to know what you need to avoid. There you go. So that is feedback sandwich, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. Really, Juan, sir, you have given a great explanation regarding that particular sandwich method. There are three different layers. Among three, the middle layer is the constructive one.
Yes.
And we should give the right evaluation or right summary regarding the actual message in the middle part.
Yes.
And we want to balance it either constructive as well as we want to praise or we want to give positive regarding to, as we mentioned, to magnify that particular person's strength. So it's a first layer. The
You hit the
overall
right word.
picture, the overall
Yeah.
picture, we can sum up or we can give the overall evaluation by taking the bottom layer in the sandwich. Yeah, great explanation from your side. Dear viewers, I would like to mention one more interesting thing here. We have discussed here only one part of the feedback. That part is the art of giving feedback.
Correct.
A week or a month later, we'll come and join with you with the next part and the art of receiving feedback with the same coach, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 𝐻𝐻𝐻. So till then,
Thank you.
please enjoy this experience or this beautiful presentation or demography from our guest, Coach 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻 𝐻𝐻𝐻. I hope these replies or these encountering answers will help you a lot while you giving feedback from right now on any platform. So thank you so much. Before wrapping up this 14th session in Rendezvous with RAMBABU, we'd like to ask the final words from our guests.
I would like to emphasize here, when you give a feedback, your primary purpose is to retain that person. In any
Yes.
organization, in Toastmasters, in Share Every, in any other global organizations and platforms, particularly in your workplace. If you are the manager, even in school, if you are the manager, the teacher, the leaders, educator, this is your primary purpose. You are giving feedback because you want that particular person to improve. But another thing to consider is you don't want that person to quit or resign. That's how you improve your evaluation skill, because you don't want somebody leaving organizations. That's my final word.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. And dear viewers or followers, please be in touch with Rendezvous with RAMBABU educational videos. Will bring a good motivation by choosing a beautiful concepts by inviting these kind of eminent coaches in this Rendezvous with RAMBABU educational videos. So we'll meet very soon with one more interesting topic with 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐻. As I mentioned at the beginning, follow our videos and give your support and encouragement. Giving the immense amount of gratitude is priceless. So don't forget. We'll wait for next episode. Thank you so much, Juan, sir.
Thank you.